Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So it has been really frustrating, like super infuriating a little bit, that I've spent 5 days trying to fix this issue that wasn't on our list at the beginning of the month. So the big thing was we forgot to add paying money to basically rest at a bed. So what I've got here is a dialogue that shows your current money, an option to rest or not. So it's a different type of dialogue box. It's our third type of dialogue box. First being standard text, second being a meditation idle, which is a lot like this. It says meditate, yes or no. And then there's a rest option. Now the difference between meditate and rest is depending on what you press, it needs to tell you different things. Because with meditate, if you hit yes, it just makes you meditate. If you hit no, it negates the dialogue box. But a rest dialogue box is different in the sense that if you hit yes, then it checks, do you have enough money? If you have enough money, it'll say, hey, you rested, or it'll say, hey, you don't have enough money to rest, which is a really sad thing. But then it advances, then it resets. We have this just resetting to 2 test, which is just to prove that it's re-initting a default value. But the same functionality exists on this, where we can hit no or yes, and it can do stuff. So now that I finally got this working, I got this, I worked on it, I don't know, like 2 hours today off stream, just because like I've been so frustrated that I've been stuck on this for 5 days straight. I just needed to get it done. I could walk through the fix. It's basically just like duplicated stuff, and I just kind of do the re-init. I'll show what it looks like, but the fix isn't all that amazing. It was really just a bunch of trial and error because it was just really tough to test. So I ended up finally figuring it out by adding some debug to the console printing, and then I just kind of looked at the output table of our dialog box. So basically the new part is right here, and it's basically this. I don't think we need any of this junk anymore. So one thing I did figure out how to do is how to do a go-to statement in Lua. So part of what was screwing up is like we were reinitializing a new text box, but then it knew action was pressed, and then it went to advance the page because we were on the last page and action was pressed. So I kind of I added this jump statement so that we could jump to an early break here at the end, so that we didn't accidentally advance our page before we were done printing up the reinitialized text. So at this point, I think we just need to kind of tidy up the code a bit, and just make it so that when we are, we need to make it so that when we hit, instead of a rest yes automatically initializing a yes, we need to do a further check. We say, hey, do we have enough money to rest? If we don't, it says, hey, you need 5 coin to stay at this inn. And then if you do have it, it'll say you took a quick nap and you feel refreshed, sort of deal. So we need to do that, and then we need to decide how we want the activatable dialog box, because I think what I want to kind of do is make it so that in the bed here, I want facing downwards to be able to rest. Well, we just opened our loots, which makes sense, but that's not what I wanted. We want to, basically, if we're facing left, let's bring up the rest query, and then if we're facing down and we're in here, we can bring it up. But if you talk to it here, it shouldn't bring it up even if we're colliding with that dialog box object, because right now the dialog box object is right here. It's a tile size width to the left of the bed. So the little red rectangle in front of us colliding with that brings up the rest dialog. And if we were facing down, you could see the hitbox for that going down. But this one needs to be locked into the direction because we need to be in bed. So, you know, it might have to be smaller because this shouldn't be a rest, right? If you hit spacebar here, it shouldn't be a rest, even though the dialog box would be colliding with a square that's there. So we might move it so it's like tiny over here so that you have to be tucked into bed before you can do it and then do those other checks. So I think for right now, I think what I want to do is get rid of our old... I think we want to get rid of this debug, call it rest debug. This was super handy for me tracking down that bug in the past 5 days, but I don't think we need it at this moment. Okay, so what I want to do, let's first do the thing where instead of saying no, it'll say we have to. And actually, I'm not totally convinced no will actually say anything. I think no will just quit the dialog box and reinit with this. So I think, yeah, I think we might not even reinit. I think we might just, well, let's see. Because yeah, if we hit no, what I want to happen is I want the dialog box to just close, and I want that value to get reinitted inside the dialog box. So let's see if we can just do this, and let's just reinit. See, and I don't think this is right. I think this will just reinit with test 2. We hit no. Yeah, two tests. See, this was the stuff I was like debugging. It's just like super complicated. What's up, Loki? How's it going, man? Yeah, I wrote this, let's see if it works. I wrote this method to clear, but we would also need to reinit to the default value. So I would say we probably need the reinit of rest reset. And then clear method, which I'm hoping would just close the page. Nice, it closes it, and it brings back rest reset. Thank you. Okay, but rest reset doesn't have a... Okay, so it's a little wrong. Yeah, we need to reset the rest button count as well, because that's what's kind of flushing our default text. So after we reinit, there's a whole bunch of junk going on in here that I'm honestly just like so done with. So if we hit rest, if we hit no, it canceled out and it loaded a default rest reset. And then if we hit yes, it brings up yes, which is right. And then if we hit no, it just goes no, which is great. Cool. So if we were to have this, you know, the rest reset should really be the same question, right? Where it's just rest. But I just wanted to make sure those were triggering, which is why we had those custom strings in there. But we should have it like this. But now, if we have, you know, we have to do a further check in here where we say, well, if we select yes, then we need to go into our coin count, and we can say if our coin count is less than 5, then we need to do this with a better message, right? So the message would be saying like you need 5 coin to rest at this inn. Okay? And then otherwise it'll be you just took a nap, or you know, you took a nap and feel totally restored. Let's see. Okay, so we have no coins. So hitting yes on rest should say you don't have 5 coins, right? You need 5 coins to rest at this inn. Oh, son of a bitch. Oh no. It's the text. It's the text. You know, we could, because the thing is too, we shouldn't have an option to select here. You know, so the option should go away. It says you need 5 coins. Now I'm curious if we give our player the 5 coins. Let's see. Let's give him the coins right here. Let's just say we've got 10. Okay. Rest, you've got 10. You took a nap. It was, well, cool. So yeah, we don't need this option, right? We don't need this option. We don't need to render these options or the buttons if we're in a rest option and we're on this certain page. So in order to determine that, I'm going to go back into our debug here for our rest, and we're just going to turn these things on and see. We're going to see what variables need to be true for the buttons to be off. So like we've got this rest button count, right? And once we hit X, we've got this rest button count of 1. Rest button count is basically like how many times you've hit space once the rest option was open. So what we can do is some conditional rendering for our dialog box here. Now before we render this, yeah, both the, see, look at this. We do this right arrow selector. So this is for our rest option. So we kind of just need to say this, if it's rest, yes, and the self dot rest button count is equal to 1. Then we need to render the arrow selectors, but it also goes with the actual yes or no, where we're rendering yes or no. Where are we doing that? Right here. So if it's, we want to do this if, see, then this is tough. This might break stuff for our meditate option. Because like we can do this where we can say, well, we can keep this for the meditate option so it doesn't break any of that. But then outside here we can say, okay, well, if we're in a rest option, then we only render this yes or no if our self dot rest button count is smaller than or equal to 1. So both the first rest page smaller than 1 might be it. Let's see. It might be smaller than 1 for this. Let's see. Oh my god, that's not right. That's not right. Well, it got the yes or no, not the selector, but it also really screwed up the selector. Yes or no, if rest button count is smaller than or equal to 1, we want to see that yes or no. Let's just get yes or no back. There's yes or no. What the? We're selecting the wrong one, which is kind of weird from the get-go here. Why would this mess with our selector? Rest button count. Okay, so right here, if rest yes, oh yeah, we don't want to do this. Okay, so basically we're saying if we are selected on yes, render the arrow selector at the yes height. Else, if we're at rest no, meaning no selected, we're going to render the arrow right here. But we don't want to render either arrow if our button press, if our rest button count is smaller than 0. So here. Actually, yeah, so like we do want to render it if it's 0. We don't want to render it if it is 1 or greater. So if it's 1 or greater, we don't want to render these two things. So we can only render these things if our rest button count is smaller than 1. Then go ahead and render those arrows. And this is only in the rest option, so it shouldn't screw, yeah, it shouldn't screw our meditation option up, which we have to test, but I'm really hoping it doesn't mess that up. Okay, so we don't see the selector, which is good, but we still see our yes or no. So let's go get those off better. Did we... God dang, dude. Okay. Right here. Okay. So it's not if it's smaller than 1. This is actually, if it's smaller than 1, render the selectors. That isn't what's broken. What's broken is the yes. The yes as a string right here. Okay, so rest option. Okay, if our rest button count is smaller than or equal to 1, we want to see this yes or no. I think we just do smaller than 1. So we're looking for the yes or no to disappear on this second page here. Nice. You took a nap and it was swell. Oh, great. Oh, yes. Okay, this is great. Okay. That's looking right. Now, I am concerned that we broke our meditation idle logic by tweaking this stuff. I'm going to test a normal dialog box, which has the same, this is looking right. Let's test a meditation idle and see if we broke anything. We'll just go to this one over here. Okay. Meditate, no, doesn't do anything. Great. Meditate, yes, we meditate. Cool. Yo. Okay. This is great. Okay. What we need to do too is if we have option to... Uh-oh. Where is this clear as option 1? We'll do this as rest. Okay. And then if we hit the action button and we have the money for it, it's going to say, it says, you know, swell. It was swell, but we need to say, at this point, we need to say that our global players, actually, yeah, our global players coin count is going to get decremented by as much as it costs to rest, which is 5 at this point. Let's do which red box are you talking about? The one in front of Tashio is the dialogue detection hitbox, which we have a dialogue box for resting. So the red boxes around the bed are the collidable map objects to make it so that you have to kind of just tuck yourself into bed nice and tidy. But then there's an invisible red box, or there's an invisible box right where this left red box is, and that's where the dialogue box for the rest option is hiding. So it's mainly just to show the beds collision for right now, because I'm still kind of working that out. Okay, let's see if we deduct our coins for resting. Yes, it took away our coins and it rested. Now we should be able to do this one more time, and it says you took a nap. And if we try to do it one more time, it says you need 5 coins to rest at this inn. So that's looking right. So now the other, you know, we've got to do a couple other things. Like we want to do a player dot direction is going to get down so that we face down, and then a change state, right, to our meditate state. So it looks like we're resting once we go to sleep. So it's going to say we're going to change our state to meditate, and we're going to be facing down. So let's see if that works. Rest. Oops. Okay, let's see. We're looking for when we change to meditate. Meditate. No. It's a gplayer.state machine. Player meditate is what it is. So it is, we go into the state machine and we change it to, so it looks like it's not an animation, it's a state, which I guess makes sense. Let's see. We rest and we meditate. Oh, look at us. We sleep. That's cute. Okay. Let's get our we'll get our debug off. We'll turn off our infamous dialogue box or our collidable map objects. Where are we doing this? Holy crap. Yo. Soup. Thank you, dude. Thank you for the gift sub. I appreciate that. I never get why the what's going on? What's going on? I gotta know what's going on. Oh, dude. Oh, hell yeah. Dude, congrats. Yo. That's big. Here, we'll go into our notes. Here we have this credited supporters. Here we go. We've got soup. Let's commemorate this. Was it at 8:02 p.m. on 4/9/25? Yo. We should put little asterisks next to the 30,000 credits. Yeah. Dude, that's epic. That is a big moment. Thank you, dude. That's epic. That's really cool. That's super epic. Yeah, man. Just in time for the for when we finish the demo, dude. Yeah. It'll be the we'll put a little asterisk around the 30k homie gang. Cause yeah, Katron and Soup are the two 30k redeemers. That's epic. Okay, we're rendering. Where are we doing the collidable map objects? We're choosing to render at the moment, which I want to turn off. There we go. It should be just this. Okay, so now we should have a bed with no, nothing kind of. We're still rendering our hitbox, which isn't a big deal. Nice, dude. Yeah, poetry, dude. Yeah, Rough Cookie definitely brought us all into the same realm of existence. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go into bed, we can rest. He goes into his little sleep animation. It deducts our coins. We need to also top up our health because that's what resting ultimately does. So let's do that before we forget. We don't just want to charge the player, but we want to set our player's health to be equal to, let's say, I don't know, demo max health. And demo max health is 14, I believe. Because every heart is 2 points, 2 hit points. So a 14 gives us 7 health hearts. So if we go to our player class and just go to our health, and yeah, 14. So let's say that we start with maybe 2, only 1 heart, and we'll see. So we've only got 1 heart down there at the bottom right. We're gonna go try to rest in our bed. We're gonna rest. It did not reset. Oh, it did. It did reset our health. It just had to advance, which I guess makes sense because we're not updating the UI, I guess, because we're paused. So in a dialog box object, when it's updating, the game is effectively paused. So it you know, I mean, I guess we could yeah, since we're paused, we can't really force yeah, because the HUD is not going to update until the game is unpaused. So yeah, I don't know of a way to kind of just like force that heart so that it goes up right away, but it does heal you up. So maybe it will say you took a nap, you will have full health when you awake. Because the player kind of wakes themselves up from the meditation state. So if we go in here and meditate, they're sleeping. You took a nap, you will have full health when you whatever. Because we only gave it 1 page. I got damn it. Say you took a nap. Okay, you took a nap and feel restored, right? So there's a couple more things we want to do. The meditate looks great. He just goes to sleep in there. He gets his health back. He chills in meditate state till you walk out, which is cool. It does deduct your money from your global coin count, which is good. Oh god. Open the loot from the bed, which is kind of funny. Yeah, we do need to fix that. We do need to what I want to do is add another option to trigger the text, right? Oh my gosh, my cameras are so dark. We want to trigger, we essentially, it's a little tricky because we want to do, you know, the side ones are fine. Yeah, because I kind of want to be able to trigger that sleep from right here, from facing forward, instead of opening the loot. Oh my gosh, his little bun wiggle when he's in bed. Okay, let's get our walk state dialog debug. What do we call it? Render dialog box. Yeah, he's just, you know, it's like yeah, just getting situated in the sheets, you know. Where is it? Right here, dialog box detection. Okay, so I turn that off. Yeah, I think I want it to have, yeah, because that's fine, that works. But I would like it that you can tuck yourself in, face down, and then also hit spacebar at that point. So that means we need another dialog box responsible for triggering it, but also that dialog box needs to only be activated if we're facing down, and we need to do some trickery to kind of put it so you have to be fully tucked into bed to do it. So it's not super straightforward to me how to do this, other than, you know, we do this thing basically right now, if the action button is hit and it's colliding with the dialog box, then we go ahead and save its active dialog ID. We become paused. We start updating the active dialog box object, and then we kind of need to do another check where we're saying, where do we do this? Player to dialog box. Dialog collision. Fucking who programmed this, man? Dialog. Default dialog option. Right here. Dialog detection. That's not the right spot. Here in the play state. Okay. So before we do this, before we activate the dialog box, just if we have collision, that's no longer good enough. Hey, what's up, Scrinch? Yeah, just doing this isn't quite good enough. Man, I don't know how difficult this is gonna be to implement. Yeah, basically we need to just check. We can say, well, if the dialog box that we're colliding with, now when we instantiate this thing, we give it a option. So we're gonna say if the dot option is equal to rest option, like these ones are, then let's try to say we only want to do this, which is activate the oops, what the, we only want to activate the dialog box and kind of become paused if you know, in one case we want to do it in every case that is a meditation idle or a normal dialog box. We just want to go ahead and activate it. But if it's a rest, then we need to check the collision. So, oh man, well, I think we just check the direction. So like if we're colliding with it and we're facing anywhere other than up, right? No, we can't do left. Okay, because my issue is like, if we say you can face down, then the one that's on the left, like right now, it won't trigger because we're not facing down. So like, if it's to the left of us, how do we do it? Because yeah, I don't want it to be, you know, because if we walk over here, oh god. Uh-oh. It's not this. It's just if the map. It's just if the one we're colliding with is equal to rest. If its options equal to rest. So yeah, I think that the trickier thing here is like right here, right? Oh, well, the loot was in there. Yeah, right here, you know, our little box would be colliding with the dialog box that's supposed to be beneath us at this point. So either we just make it so that it's just out of reach for our left collision, and then we just do pure, how would we do it? Because it wouldn't trigger, yeah, hitting spacebar wouldn't trigger the A. Yeah, I think I want to do this. I think if we go into our player, we can see this dialog detection. Okay, let's turn this on. Now we're gonna insert Yeah, see, this gives us just a little bit of space. This is good. Okay, I think this will work. Because what I'm thinking is, if you look at just out of reach of this, you know, we can put a little dialogue box, hitbox, for resting when you're facing down. But you'd have to be facing down and be far enough in the bed where it hits that limit where we put it. You know, it's just gonna be like a little square right here. So then when we do this, we can say, well, when we trigger this, if it's a rest, actually this might work regardless of if it's rest, because I think we're still just gonna go for pure collision. So I think we might, hold on. It says, we'll come back to this, because I think we might be okay with removing this. But the crappy thing is, this secondary downwards facing rest dialog box activation needs to be very particularly placed. If it's a bed on the left side, it needs to be more to the left. If it's a bed on the right side, it needs to be a little more to the right. So I would like, you know, we don't have a way to render dialog box objects, but we do have collidable map objects that we can place. So I kind of just want to do, yeah, I think I want to go in here and say collidable map objects. Where is it? Let's turn back on our collidable map objects so we can see them. But when I go to do in our map declarations here, we put in a bunch of collidable objects, and it's for the in. Where do I put it? Look at all these collidable map objects we're putting in. So when we go to insert a bed, you know, we need to insert a collidable map object if it's a left bed or a right bed. And this is just to get the X and Y, because this X and Y and width and height needs to be passed in as the dialog box instantiation numbers. Which I'm kind of thinking now is like, no, this should work. So what I'm gonna do is say, you know, when we insert a bed, it's on a left. Shit, we're only inserting a bed in the in, so we're gonna have to switch to scene 211 for this to work. But yeah, we want to be able to run insert bed with the mage's castle bed, but I just have not done that yet. So we'll go to 211 and make sure that works. Let's do it right now before we forget. Spawn is 211. Yeah, let's spawn us in at 211 now. And we have a dialog box. Let's even test and see if it's working as expected here. So we've got our bed. It does not work. Yeah, so do we not have the dialog box object in there? What the heck? 211, we have one. Yeah, we should have one right here. We insert into 211 a dialog box. It's got a rest option and a rest text here, and it's at 0 tiles for the column and 3 rows down. So 3 rows. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it should be exactly where that red box is, but we are not triggering it. What the heck? Okay. Let's try it again. We'll see what we're doing different for our Mage Castle one and see what the heck is going on. This isn't working either now. What the fuck? Oh no, don't tell me this. Don't tell me this. What is different? All we really changed was this crap, which we get rid of it. Should be okay. Okay. So if we hit rest, yep, we take a nap. Okay, cool. Cool. Took a nap. Okay. Okay. So what we want to do, I want to turn off, for now, I want to turn off this bottom collidable map object so that we can see what the hitbox is for a down-only map object. Dialogue activator object. Oh man, these are gross. Okay. So which one's the bottom? Well, the X and Y. Yeah, this one's gotta be the bottom. So what I want to do is just turn off. If I turn off the bottom collidable, we should see an empty spot there. That's cool. So let's turn one back on, and this will be our fourth. This is just to get the XY width and height of a dialog box activator, basically. So we want it to be basically the same X, basically, but we want to shift it, shift the Y, the width actually, which it looks like our collidable map objects. It takes in a width and a height as the third and fourth parameters, width and height. So when we say this is our width, so we're going to just say maybe a tile size divided by 3. I don't know. And let's see where that little red X gets. Now this is going to be the bottom one. Oh, see, it's too thin. Too thin. Divided by 3. Well, the width is fine. I think the width needs to be like 4 or 5. But then the width and the height, why is the... Oh, shoot. Okay. This is the width. So we're going to say it is a third of a tile size. And the height is going to be 5 pixels? I don't know. 5 pixels. And then it's an X offset of 0, which, yeah, see, it's too tiny. It's too, width and height could maybe be taller. Width and height. Let's try 8. Yes, something just like that. Yes, because now, see how, yeah, it needs to be maybe a tiny bit shorter, because we want this to only collide with our downwards, like our downwards red box here on Tashio here, should only be colliding with that when we're tucked in. So he's not really tucked in over here, so we can go a little bit thinner on the width there. Oops. Let's try it again. This is getting really close, though. There we go. It's still, I don't know, it's still really... It's really tiny, but also, like, anywhere we're at here will collide with that, so I think we're okay. As long as the width is okay. You know, this is borderline not in bed, so maybe width is, like, a little bit smaller. Oh, and that's height. That's height. Width and then height. Yeah, let's go back to 8. We'll do minus a couple pixels here. Okay. Yeah, just like this, where the width is gonna be maybe like 4 or 5 pixels. That looks pretty good. That looks like it's colliding with it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think that's good. But it's just weird. It's weird that they're kind of weird values, right? So like, let's just try to do it for column 2 right now, which it's not a collidable map object. It is actually going to be stuff for the rest, down, X, Y, width, and height. Okay, so let us break this apart. It goes width, height, width, width, height, width, height, X offset, Y offset. Oh shit. The Y, oh yeah, this is screwing us up. Okay, we want this boiled down to no offset. So if we just take out the offsets we give ourselves, we want these values to be right, which, okay. Okay, there we go. There's a big width. That's actually just the bottom leg that we forgot to take out. Okay, so now the bottom one on this top left. Yeah, okay, so now we don't see it other than the fact that it is at the wrong Y. So we need to say that this is... See, and the other thing is, like, this needs to be defined in terms of the tile size. So like yeah, we need to add this, you know, to it's not a hard-coded X and Y, it's a hard-coded width and height, and it's a dedicated X versus which column we're at, either scene column 2 or 9. But the Y is dependent on how high the bed is. So it's almost like... Yeah, it's almost like we need to... Oh, this is tough, because we're not actually inserting a collidable map object. We're inserting a dialog box object with the same... with particular, you know, X, Y, width, and height. So when we go to insert it as a dialog box object, we're already inserting, you know, it gets a little weird. Because right now we're inserting one to the left of the bed because it's in a scene column 2, but we're manually doing that. We're saying like, hey, go to where the bed is, but then subtract one column and go insert it there. Kind of like how this scene column -1, that's that one tile of offset. But yeah, we need... Shoot, man. Okay, well, I had a big day at work today, and I finally got unstuck on Tashio, so I'm so happy I got that done today. But I don't think I have much steam for anything else. So tomorrow, I'll hopefully, and I might, depending on my work tomorrow, I might just tidy this up off stream so that we can get back to doing more fun stuff on stream, because it's been way too long for us to not be done with this feature. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow, and I'll get more stuff done. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for that credited supporter role redeem soup. That is epic. And we'll just call it a night right out here. And I'll be back tomorrow. Let's see if Jed is on. Jed is not on. Well, oh, hey, Salto's on. Yo, catch a squinch. Thanks for hanging. Peace out, dude. Yeah, we'll raid out to Salto because he's got 24 peeps right now watching, so we'll go say what's up. Yeah, thanks for hanging, y'all.